May langaw. Okay. Are you planning to study in Canada? Or do you want to permanently move here instead? Well, either way, you will need an IELTS exam. Wait, what is an IELTS exam? IELTS is an English proficiency exam, and basically it's a test to see how well you perform in English, particularly in the 4 categories, which are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. By the way, hi guys, my name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel. Yeah, so in my case, I took the IELTS exam for about 3 times already. One was to get a study permit here in Canada, and for that, I took the academic test. Second was to apply for permanent residency here in Canada, which in this case, I took the General IELTS exam. Academic test is for people looking to study here in Canada, particularly undergrad or postgraduate level, where English is a prerequisite to get in. While general is for people looking to apply to an immigration program such as express entry to permanently settle in Canada. Take note, you guys, IELTS is only valid for 2 years from the date that you took your exam. So yes, it expires. So for my academic test, I took that in the Philippines when I was applying for my study permit application. I booked my appointment at britishcouncil.ph, so do check that out. I paid close to 9,400 pesos for the exam fee, but I think right now it's currently at 11,300 pesos. For my general test, I took it here in Vancouver, primarily because I was applying for express entry. I paid 300 Canadian dollars for each exam that I took, and yes, I did take it twice, but primarily because I wanted to improve my CRS score for express entry. The higher your English test score, the higher your CRS score will be, which means you'll have higher chances of getting invited to apply for permanent residency here in Canada. If you want to find out more about the CRS score and how express entry works, do check this video out, which I'll also link below. For me, I feel that the listening and reading portion are one of the easiest components of the IELTS exam, mainly because it's more of a test on your concentration. What that means is how well you do is based on how attentive you are to the audio or reading material given to you during your exam. Whereas I find speaking and writing to be a bit more challenging because it involves a lot of creativity. How well you formulate your sentences, the type of words you use, grammatical range and accuracy, your speaking and your writing tone, and more importantly, the sequence on how you explain an idea from general to specific also plays a big role in acing this exam. Now for the most important part of this video, I'll be giving you guys some tips on how to prepare and do well on your IELTS exam. Now, a lot of people have been asking me if I took any review classes to prepare for my IELTS exam, and the answer to that is no. I personally chose to learn organically, and I guess that's tip number 1. I put myself in a position where I'll be speaking English at all times, or at least most of the time. Even until today, I feel that my English improved dramatically just because I'm applying it in my day-to-day life. I talk to my family and friends in English most of the time. When I engage in social media, I reply in English. I spoke English in school and at work, whenever I'm doing reporting or presentations. And I guess growing up with Disney also helped a lot, or like just watching English speaking shows on Netflix and YouTube improved my English by a lot. I even listen to pop music, like singing to catchy Justin Bieber songs and rapping to Drake. Like, it actually really helped me a lot. And for me, I truly believe that everyday application is the key to learning English faster. Tip number 2 is the internet. Guys, you have the most powerful tool in your hands, which is your smartphone and what we call the internet. And you can use that to your advantage to further your English skills. And the great thing about this is that you don't have to pay or you don't need to shell out money in order to improve or review for your IELTS exam. Personally, I went to the British Council website to check out the practice materials in order to prepare for my IELTS exam. Yes, to be honest, it is a bit boring, but it is very helpful. And because I reviewed their materials, I knew exactly what to expect from the exam by simply reviewing the material beforehand. For example, I took a look at how people who got CLB 7 or higher speak and write in order for me to understand why they got such a high score. So, first thing I noticed is that they never repeat the question as part of their writing. Another helpful tip is that I look at how the paragraphs were written, particularly how they start their sentence. And also, I study how they funnel their ideas from general to specific and found that it is very effective if you start from such a general topic and then narrow it down with supporting details. And as I look further down the paragraphs, I also take note of the transition words they used to explain their point or their next point. The first paragraph should always contain your thesis statement or the main point of your essay. The body should explain your 3 supporting points in detail. And lastly, the conclusion is basically repeating your main point or your thesis statement, followed by a condensed version of your 3 supporting details in like 2 to 3 sentences. Now for speaking, pronunciation, fluency, and thought coherence are what they pay most attention to while you're speaking, so be aware of that. Eye contact with your interviewer is always brownie points. Like, it shows a lot of engagement and it also shows confidence in your part. Use simple words, but do try to spice it up a little bit by adding key phrases like idioms to enhance your vocabulary. Phrases like heard way of thinking or missed the point by miles, even hit the nail on the head. Like, key phrases like that elevate your game during your interview. Tip number 3 is to be focused. Again, this is a test of your concentration, meaning it's how well you manage your time juggling writing, speaking, and reading at the same time, which you will do in this exam. So ensure that you dedicate your full and undivided attention for each part or for each component of this exam. For example, don't be like me that basically zoned out in the first 10 seconds of the listening exam. Yeah, I wasn't able to answer the first 3 questions of my exam, and yikes, that's a major dent to my overall score already. And especially knowing that I wanted to get a CLB 7 or higher for my IELTS exam. And well, for me to do that, I needed to at least get 30 questions right out of the 40 questions that they have. And I already compromised 3. So yeah guys, you've been warned. Okay, other bonus tips. So before your exam, key strategy for me is to time your IELTS exam well. For example, I took mine at the earlier stages of when I started my study permit application, and I also did that for my express entry profile. That was just my preference. I preferred to get the hardest part of the requirement done, mainly because it involves a lot of brain activity. And mainly because after that big challenge, I can focus on other things such as gathering the required documents for my application. Another tip that I find is to also book ahead. Nowadays, it's just so hard to book an appointment for an IELTS exam, especially the general test. Like, geez, it took me about a month or 2 to reserve my time slot for my general exam. Yeah, some people prefer to delay it, and that's okay. Mainly what they do is they book in advance and practice in the months leading up to their exam, which I find is also an effective strategy. Main point here is, regardless of when you take it, make sure that it's still valid upon submitting an application, and more importantly, to do well. Okay, now tips during the exam. Yeah, review. You have a bit of time to check your answers, so use that time wisely. Also, make sure to check if all the grammar and spelling is correct before submitting your test form. And lastly, tips after the exam. Breathe, like walk outside or get some fresh air. Reward yourself with some good food or a drink. Main point here is to relax and to also value your time of rest because you deserve it. So that's it. That's all I have for today. I hope that this guide was helpful, especially for those that are planning to take their IELTS exam. If you have questions or comments, you know the drill. Comment it down below and I'll try my best to get back to you on that. Find me on my socials as well. I already have an Instagram and a TikTok account, so catch me and my memes on my daily life as an immigrant here in Canada. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you're all safe and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!